Stop! Sure you want the rest of it?
Dirty Harry Minute. Dirty Harry Minute. Dirty Harry Minute Podcast. Dirty Harry Minute Podcast.
Every penny's worth.
Welcome to Dirty Harry Minute, the only podcast in the world to review every minute of that 1971 Warner Brothers classic, Dirty Harry. I'm one of your hosts, John. Usual co-hosts are absent, but we have Shane returning.
Hey.
Glad to be back.
Oh, absolutely. I'm pumped.
Shane's a real dynamo of energy, isn't he?
Coming hard off the top, man. So you're a guy.
Well, we are lucky to be joined with three guests today. We have the man from Wagga Wagga. You may know him best from ABC's comedy Up Late, his award-winning show Aboriginal LOL, Dirty Dane Simpson.
Yay!
Thanks for joining us.
It sounds better when you guys join in, but that's all right.
Aboriginal, like Aboriginal.
Aboriginal lol. Yeah.
Come on, mate, you're better than that. Aboriginal.
Yeah, bruz. You gotta get him in with the pun.
Yeah, Aussies love puns like the Brits, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, everyone loves a pun, but that was just a bit yucky, isn't it?
That voice you hear, also joining us, international comedian, one co-host of the Wrestler podcast, John Hastings.
Yes, it's technically the Wrestler Review, by the way. Although the Wrestler podcast would be a way better name. Yeah, it's so Aboriginal. Like, that's the problem with it, is it's so difficult to say. Aboriginal?
Yeah. I don't think you. I'm in the show. People normally would just read it on a poster and go ha ha ha.
A wry smirk.
And then they enjoy the show.
What pun are you going to go with next year?
Indigilarious.
See, that one's awesome.
Thanks for joining us, John. We've also got our third guest, Queensland comedian, sit-down comedy club regular, the big boy of Brisbane comedy, international Kosamui podcast performer, Nick Carr.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited to be here. That's a long list of achievements I have. I'm impressive. After hearing you read that out, I was like, oh shit, no, I've done some stuff.
Who's the guy that owns the sit-down comedy club? What's his name?
Fideli. Yeah.
How's that? Are all of his cars still branded like his comedy club?
Yep, they're all still. He's got a new one, an Arbath Spider, and he's still got comedy on the license plate. And and then he's got the little fleet of small vehicles with the sit-down comedy club like artwork on it, and then I think their license plates like stand-up and comedy, like they're all different, like just comedy-related things. It's beautiful.
The condo is just a bunch of VHS tapes.
Any Warner Brothers titles? Any Clint Eastwood movies?
Dirty Harry was there. I watched Dirty Harry in that very condo because I was told there might be huntsman spiders, so I kept all the lights on so I didn't get the shit scared out of me.
Yeah. He's got a pretty big DVD collection there now as well. What he's done to stock it up is he told me he just went. It was like when Blockbuster or one of those was like going out of business. He just bought like all of their stuff real cheap. Like he literally bought 1,000. There's like a lot of repeats in there as well. Yeah. There's like 2 or 3 copies of some of the movie, and then there's like an insane amount of porn.
That was
like
the other
DVD
thing.
porn.
There's so much porn.
Yeah.
I love that so it goes VHS says, oh, you know what? We need to update to 10 years ago, not 20.
Yeah.
Like, let's update our stuff. And also, I went to the video shop when they were closed at Video Easy, and what they did
choice is easy.
It was $1. Good branding.
Was that the slogan for Video Easy?
The choice is easy. Yep.
Also, what a terrible name for a video rental place. Although I'm being in Canada, ours was called Rogers Video. So
We also had Magnum. Fittingly, remember Magnum? Maybe it's just in Victoria, but they're another chain.
Video?
Yeah.
Ooh.
In Queensland.
When Video Easy closed down, they just had everything was $1, and you just walk in, grab it off the shelf, and then you take it home for $1 every single DVD.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Ours, Blockbuster tried to hold on for so long. Like, I'm talking like, I think 2010 or 11, maybe 12. And it was...
There's 2 left now in the world. The last one in Perth, is that right? Closed like last month. And now there is one maybe in Canada or somewhere in North America.
Are you serious? There's still Blockbusters around?
There's one left now, as of 2 weeks ago.
Holy shit. What a fucking stubborn asshole. Speaking of blockbusters, let's talk about Dirty Harry.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Today we are reviewing minute 73. The minute begins with Harry reflecting on Anne Mary Deacon's murder and ends with Harry, our hero, in sunglasses, looking up at someone. What'd you think of this minute?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the one where Scorpio's like limping around all over the place, and Harry's wearing various different types of workout wear and following him.
And how did he get his limp?
How did he get his limp? Have you never seen the movie?
I did. I
It's
watched
the
it.
famous part where he fucking shoots him. He shoots him a bunch, and then he stands on his leg and he screams after he goes to the liquor store and goes, "Kezar Stadium."
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
With an ethnically ambiguous accent. But yeah, he's been shot in the leg by Harry, and then Harry's tortured him by standing on his leg.
And then he gets off.
Yeah, he gets off because it's the interesting thing about 70s cinema in particular, where they're both absolutely loose and fast with the like the idea of policing, and also like, but those are the rules, Harry.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, you can shoot a man, but you don't torture him as well.
Yeah.
Did you like this minute, Shane?
I did. I think.
Oh, sorry. Begins with the fag end of the office scene, his dressing down scene.
Yeah. So the DA is dressing him down, and Harry's telling the audience that he's going to trail the killer Scorpio, and
Stub his toe, he says.
Yeah. So that's what's going to be revealed in this minute, and then the next couple of minutes is.
Has anyone ever really stubbed their toe, or is it just something that happens in comic strips?
I've done it so
Oh,
much.
done it?
yeah, all the
fucking
time. Yeah.
man.
Probably twice in the last week.
You're living in a beautiful paradise if you've never stubbed your toe.
Absolutely.
Nor have I ever tripped over my shoelaces.
Oh
As you
my
can see,
God! What the fuck?
Never.
What
Everyone's always said, you're going to do it, but I never have. Maybe I'm a short man, not athletic.
you lead a
enough, but-
blessed life, brother. Like,
Yeah. I've fought so many coffee tables.
So when you're watching slapstick comedy and people are falling all about the place, falling, do you think this is a fantasy? This doesn't happen in real life.
So, Nick, do you like the makeup on Clint?
I love it. So he's taking
Looks
a
more like
beating.
poo than blood, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's taking a bit of a beating. He's bruised, but the bruises look like they're already a few days old. Is that what's going on?
also, what's amazing about this scene is it's some classic 70s Hollywood acting, which is snide guy, angry guy, bureaucrat guy. Yeah, like this is clearly snide guy being, you can't do it, Harry. God damn it. I might be a newspaper editor or the DA. And then there's this just silent, normal guy. And Harry is clearly the angry guy saying something probably vaguely racial if this movie holds to memory.
Shane, why do you think... How does Harry know that Scorpio likes it?
He likes killing people. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I think he thinks himself as an amateur, like an armchair kind of psychologist at this point, because he's hanging out with Chico for too long or something. I'm not really sure how he jumps to the conclusion that the killer is sadistic and gets pleasure out of someone else's pain.
I love that it's got these themes of I'm old and I know the world and I'm right.
Yeah.
Almost every character actually has that in their inner monologue throughout the entire film. Yeah, that's pretty accurate, I think.
Is that Clint Eastwood's whole career though? Isn't that every single one of his movies? That I'm old, I'm right, and that's it.
I love
Yeah.
that this bureaucrat has the family photos on his desk to show how like lame he is.
Yeah. Stupid nerd doesn't know that you should pull out.
And that there may be pictures of his stepdaughter, because he's got another photo clipped in front of
That's
his
very funny.
birth daughter.
Did anyone notice that on the bureaucrat's door it's got written private?
Yeah, I did. I noticed that. Yeah,
I'm actually glad you brought that up because it's just a weird thing to have on an office. Either that or he's a military private.
yeah.
But genuine, like it doesn't even have his name, or unless that is his name. Maybe he is officer private.
Yeah.
But it's a weird thing. It's almost like he's in a janitor's closet or.
It feels that office.
Well, he
feels
is giving Harry the shitty end of the stick.
Have you guys ever been brought in front of a venue owner who's, slapped you on the...
I certainly have, yes.
Yeah.
Don't use that word.
Yeah. I've been told multiple times don't do certain bits. Like, yes, I've got this bit where I.
Read your audience their rights before you give the jokes. You have the right not to be offended.
I've got a bit where it's real dumb, but I basically pull out like a giant photo of a penis, like a drawing of a penis. Sorry, and I've had multiple venue owners go, don't do that again. I'm like, yeah, fair. It's not a great joke. It's not a good bit.
By a man looking like the DA.
I was going to say I got yelled at for I was too drunk on stage while the headliner walked on, and then the headliner was even drunker than me, and then I got away with it.
But I loved, like, in the movie, they've used so many racial slang terms, but then they shy away from some.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, why do some people get the mention, but some people don't? Doesn't even really make sense.
It's the ones you could offend, you know what I mean? This is a very interesting... This is now the scene where Scorpio, by the way, is just milling around San Francisco, and there's Harry in various stages of workout gear.
and just
Those sunglasses, I think, are called gargoyles. They're supposed to be the same one that Arnold wears in Terminator.
Excellent. So this is Scorpio looking out on children.
What do you think of this movie in general, Nick?
Oh, I haven't. I'll be honest, I haven't seen it. I did not watch it. I have not done the required reading. I'm a terrible.
You've
guest.
never watched Dirty Harry?
Well, like I did when I was younger, like when I was a kid, but like not for a long time since.
It's like it's up there with Heat as like a great like I want to watch some shooting movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen Heat either. Is that?
I mean, what are you doing?
I don't know. I don't know. I watched. I don't know how I fill my time, if I'm honest. I don't know. Just watch. I think I watch like Parks and Rec and Brooklyn Nine-Nine just non-stop on a cycle.
That is
basically.
good stuff.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
It's hilarious that the characters in both of those movies would be upset that you haven't seen Dirty Harry. Well, this movie he had a lot of problems with because he thought it portrayed his worldview as that of a fascist.
Yeah.
And made the sequel as sort of a response to that criticism, and that response is that this movie came really about like the idea is that no one is above the law except the law. Law justifies the all that sort of stuff. Like it created a lot of oddly personal conflict within Cleon himself, not realizing what he had made.
Oh shit!
Because in the end, like this is the beginning of the bummer movement of the '60s, of the like that sort of the aftertime of the '60s American went from like peace and love to like they're all in heroin.
Yeah.
And these like there's a huge swaths of cities that have been taken over by people like we don't need to pay, and everyone's dying, and the cops are like, well, you can't. We're going to arrest you because you can't just live in a park, mate.
Oh, party poopers. Come on.
Narcs.
What's the world coming in when you can't even live in a park?
That's the thing that sort of no one talks about this era, especially in North America. Like, because my parents are both sort of the sort of right after the '60s generation, and my mom always talks about it. Like every hipper was a bummer. Like they were just like these loser weirdos in a van that were just like all like drunk, being like, yeah, you guys ever do magic mushrooms? And I think that this movie sort of captures that vibe a little bit. Is it like even in this like Scorpio like tries to dress like that of like a San Francisco sort of Haight-Ashbury guy, but really just comes across like a real creep.
Really creepy. Yeah, he's really creepy. And now in this minute he's looking at children.
Yeah, look at the playground.
He's sympathizing. Yeah. He's got a like childlike mind, or he's somehow getting some pleasure out of it that seems very creepy.
Yeah, it didn't sit right, like the way he was looking at the playground.
He's going to pinch one of these kids. Is he going to pinch one of the kids?
Yeah,
no, maybe not.
Genuine, I think that they're laying it on thick.
Yeah,
like he's gone from a sniper in the roof, to a serial killer, and now he's like a child molester, maybe. Like they're just
he's
whacking.
He's every criminal. Thing. He's an every bad man.
That's why the reviewer Pauline Kael criticised this film. She said the killer's unrealistic. She said, quote, he's a compendium of types that never exist in real life, a rapist, an extortionist, and it's unfair of the filmmakers to stack the deck like that with this unbelievable bad guy.
He's based on the Zodiac
killer.
Broadly, yeah.
But I know that's why, because there's a few reviews like that are like, oh, the villain's unrealistic, but it's like it's based on Zodiac killer. And there's absolutely extortion elements to some murder. Like that's what I'm like. Also, things can change, and also, Darth Vader lived in a space station. Sometimes villains are exaggerated. You asshole.
I would just wonder if the filmmakers were worried about being sued for copyright by the Zodiac killer. So we've added a few extra flavors.
That's how they find out who it was. He comes out. He's like, "Wow, you're not telling my story right here. This is it." That's how they get him.
I was thinking like it's a Zodiac and he's a serial killer, but it's just so weird to be a sniper.
Yes.
Like to be so unpersonal and to not even have that like get in there and getting it done.
Yeah, it does defeat the purpose of what a serial killer is normally. They're trying to fulfill some sort of they're just shooting someone from a distance. That's not that. How do you get off doing that?
Yeah, right? It just doesn't make sense.
Pardon me for yelling in the microphone. Fuck you.
Scorpio never yawned.
No, he's too busy murdering. But that was the influence of the Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac Killer really did have some elements to his crimes that he may or may not have committed that were very impersonal and all that sort of stuff. Also, I love that both the detective in Bullet and Dirty Harry are based on the same guy.
David Toschi.
Dave Toschi, who was the guy who went after Zodiac Killer and never caught him. It's all based on Dave Toschi. And like his attitude, his approach, all that sort of stuff, his problems with authority.
But Harry dresses a bit better. He doesn't have that shitty bow tie.
Oh, yeah. Dave Toschi dresses badly.
So the Zodiac Killer was never caught. We don't know the person who was the Zodiac Killer. So maybe he was a sniper. Who are we to say?
There's not even any suspects for the Zodiac Killer at this point. Any suspect has been proven that it couldn't have been him because of DNA.
I thought old mate, didn't they, in the movie, I'm thinking of the Zodiac, and we're talking about a different movie, but the Zodiac.
So the guy, Arthur Lee Allen.
Yeah, he's dead.
DNA evidence proved that it couldn't have been him.
But they're thinking now maybe he did one of the crimes, the second Lakeside murder, and he tried to be a copycat and claim credit for the others. But at certain points in the story, some of the handwriting on the car that the killer left at one of the killings has been confirmed to have been someone else's, but then I don't know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, there's a couple of us that it was more than one guy. It was people working together.
A compendium, if you will.
Yes. But Scorpio's on his own, man. With a lovely brown cardigan.
Yeah. He's got stuff to do.
He's just hanging around that...
The child's path.
So yeah, it's quite disturbing. Scorpio's disguised himself as a hippie. He's got the peace buckle.
I mean, that peace buckle is so... I love it because it's clearly that it's supposed to be he made it himself or something. Like
very asymmetrical.
Some people are trying to... It's supposed to be vaguely like the Zodiac unit circle. You know, he has that...
Oh!
But I don't know. I can't find it online if that's the director's intention.
What's that graffiti say?
War on pigs.
Something with pigs?
But it also had a big peace symbol. Is it sort of alluding that he did that graffiti? I don't know.
The thought crossed my mind too, but surely not.
That's a big compendium: extortion, sniper, graffiti, cafe, barista,
street artist, peace lover,
organic chef.
I love that Clint Eastwood dressing in these street clothes. That's him being like
leisure suit
fitting
Clint.
in.
Low key, just wearing a tracksuit. Full matching tracksuit.
Also, what's weird is the playground that their kids are playing in, that is a play structure I remember from my childhood, and then I've never seen it since. Like, 94, they were like, we're getting rid of these clear death traps.
Yes. We kept them in Australia.
I remember that thing being so tall. I remember being a kid and being like, this is the tallest thing in the world. And now, like, I've seen them, I've exaggerated for the purposes of the show, I've seen them recently, and it's like, I could walk over this thing. This is not a big deal.
We had them in, we had it in Toowoomba at the top of the range. There was a big rocket ship. And, like, you could climb all the way up to the top. And it was quite high, but you could kind of squeeze out between the bars. So then they slowly, as time went on, they're like, no, that's too high. So they locked one level up so you couldn't get above it. And then later on, they locked another level. They kept getting it lower, so you just couldn't go. And then eventually you just get into it, and that was it. It was
I just remember there was a lot more injuries as children. Like, I remember just, like you just jump out of a tree and then you wouldn't see your friend for a couple of weeks.
I turned around on a playground set and went to go down the slippery dip, and there was a bar for some unknown reason at nose height, like just before you go down the slippery dip. I think it's to get that leverage so you grab it and you can swing and go down the slippery dip at speed. But realistically, I just turned around and just bang and broke my nose. And I don't think I wasn't the only one. Like, so many kids broke their nose on that.
Yeah.
Wow. And this was before YouTube, so they didn't have a camera set up just to make a blooper reel.
Viral. No one went viral smashing up their nose on the tree.
Just bad engineering.
I think my sister split her head open going face down a slippery dip one time.
What the fuck's a slippery dip?
A slippery slide. Okay. Yeah, so,
is that is that a Helter Skelter? The link with the Charles Manson? He thought the Helter... What is a Helter Skelter?
Helter Skelter is that circular slide you go down to at British carnivals that they think is really fun.
Oh, is that what
that's why that song Helter Skelter by the Beatles is literally a description of taking a going up and down a slide.
Why drugs? Literally.
No, like because that's what I thought. Like drug, and you're like listening, and you're like go back to the top and the bottom again, and you end up at the bottom again, and it's literally just about like going up and down.
Wow. I genuinely I honestly just thought that Helter Skelter was the beginning, like the Beatles song was the beginning of that
term. No, it's just a slide in
Never
Britain.
known. That's crazy.
Wow, we come here to learn.
Yeah. Helter Skelter.
2 questions for you comedians. 1, have you ever played this game of Mahjong between your sets to fill in time?
Never in my time, but I have played. It's very fun.
Harry would be very conspicuous amongst all those Chinese Americans, wouldn't he?
He would. It's weird, by the way, this movie, like, San Francisco looks like this, but San Francisco is not nearly as crowded and bustling as this movie makes it seem. Like, it's so much more of a commuter city. It's still it's a city that's growing on me exponentially.
You can fit in as long as you wear an all tracksuit and sunnies.
As long as you're wearing either a chocolate brown suit or Vulcan sunnies at any time. Also, you notice that in the early 70s, everyone just dresses like how hipsters and like young yuppies dress now? Like, any of this attire would be so expensive at a vintage shop in Fitzroy. Like, this guy's gear.
I could see Nick Capper wearing exactly that. That's it, exactly that setup.
Well, that's pretty much all I've got for minute 73. Shane?
I think there's been an appropriate conversation.
I'm just so happy we're over the office scenes because we're talking about Miranda rights in the previous episodes and the fucking... What's that Dylan Moran joke in the 70s? They found the avocado and the brown colour. I was sick of these office palettes. Now we're on to some meatier scenes.
Yeah, some classic walking around San Francisco. I think we're also about to all see some boobies.
All right, well, many thanks for
for.
joining us, guys. Maybe we'll talk off air if I can talk you into coming back for another minute. But many thanks, John, for joining us.
Thank you.
Dane?
Thank you.
You still love Dirty Harry?
I really... So I didn't know. I thought when you sort of contacted me, I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't seen Dirty Harry for such a long time. And then I watched it last week and I'm like, I haven't seen Dirty Harry at all. And it's actually a brilliant movie.
Yeah, well, look, now I'm going to go. I mean, I know I've done this the wrong way around completely, but I'm going to go watch this movie now. I'm intrigued.
You should.
Especially mostly because of the boobies.
Just the boobs.
Yeah. I just saw the boobies and I'm like, yeah, sick.
Well, thank you, guys. We'll catch you next time on
Dirty Harry Minute.
We did it.
So, Milton, what about the bridges of Medicine County? Clint. Too many films like Bridges and people will think you're a wimp. What's happened to the Clint of Unforgiven? The Clint of Fistful of Dollars? The Clint of Sudden Impact? Play Misty for me and High Plains Drifter. What next? Wind in the Willows? Get back to thrills, spills and killing villains. Sure, you're searching for a vehicle to reinvigorate your image, but Clint, this isn't it. In the words of the Chili Peppers, give it away now.